Hey, Shalom to my Aki and Wak Waki, man. Yahweh Yeshua Hamashiach. Man, peace and blessings to my brothers and my sisters in the Lord, man. It's your boy Raw coming through checking in, man. I recently had some dreams and I wanted to share one with y'all that is imperative for the times that we're actually coming into right now. With the DOD basically giving the green light with these strikes on Iran, and with Israel, the Israeli state pretty much clearing the same. It's really pushing me to really speak on a particular dream that I had a couple weeks ago. I did actually type up the dream as soon as I had it, and at some point I'll go back and read it verbatim, you know what I'm saying, off the notepad app that I do have. So, so it can be as accurate as possible, but I'll speak to y'all about it for the moment. Just out here walking my dog, and with all these things going on, like these two hurricanes and stuff, like Milton and Helene, is really weakening the country, and these other nations see it. And as you can see, also with the CrowdStrike outage from a couple months ago, and Verizon going down a week ago or so, and then the Bank of America outage last week. These were all just test runs, y'all. These were all just test runs on the system pulling the plug. You know, the controllers of the system. They're about to pull this plug. The Great Reset is about to come into play, and a lot of the prophetic messages that were written of old and declared, even this day, are about to come into play, because a lot of judgment is coming forth to the daughter of Babylon, and people need to be on point and be ready for this, because it's not a game. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this dream that I had a couple weeks ago, y'all. Essentially, in short, in my dream, there was chaos on the streets. Russia and China had invaded, and particularly in my dream, it was Russia, and you had their troops on the street, and it was rolling in like bands of 5 to 10 people, and the environment that it was there was no more gun sales, and ammunition was damaged. The ammunition was scarce and it was damaged. In the dream, there were people, Americans, fellow Americans, kind of coming together, you know, to a certain extent. And there was also Americans who were robbing and killing each other too. So, you really had to be vigilant in this day and time and have really good discernment, because you couldn't trust anybody by no means. I actually will go back and read exactly verbatim the dream, word from word, that I typed up after I had it. But essentially, it was I saw Isaiah 4:1 as well. And I'll go ahead and tell y'all the dream from what I can remember. Basically, I was with maybe like 4 or 5 people, and we were going to a warehouse, and we was all looking for ammunition and looking for guns because of what had been going on. And basically, at any given moment and at any given turn, you could run into enemy combatants, being Russians. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of firefighting, random spurts of firefighting going on. In my dream, a fellow American actually gave me a shotgun. It was a long, like, 28-inch hunting shotgun. It was crazy. So I was going around looking for shotgun ammo as well. But I was coming across these people, and we were kind of rolling together for the moment. And then there would come times where everybody would kind of go their own way, because everybody was doing their own thing. So you did have some Americans that were in a supporting spirit, an understanding spirit, and they will help, and they will expect you to help them as you go along your way and as they go along their way. But at some point or another, you will have to fork off and continue to go about your own business, because at the end of the day, you didn't really know these people. So in my dream, I had forked off after I had gotten into a couple firefights against some Russians with the people that I was with, or had ran into. So I was searching out this dimly lit warehouse and came into like a little corridor. And in the corridor, I heard a noise. So I upped my shotgun, and I had looked, and like 7 women had crawled out of hiding. And they was looking rough. They were like Jake women, so-called African-American women, Their hair wasn't done. They was dressed in basically essentially like rags. Not literal rags, but the clothing looked old and overworn and things like that. The hair wasn't done. There wasn't no weave. There wasn't no nails. There wasn't no makeup or none of that. They was just out here just looking how they look. And there was only one woman who was speaking out of the 7. So the other 6 was just quiet and just kind of sitting around each other. And the one woman that was speaking to me, she was just motor mouthing, yo. She was just telling me everything they went through, how they all met each other, and how they at one time was under Russian captivity. And that's another thing. The Russians were taking women, but the women weren't like, they were almost like willing to go because they knew if they was under the cover of a man of any sort, even though they would be probably raped and abused and stuff like that, that at least they'll have food to eat and drink to drink. You know what I'm saying? But they were like just kind of like whatever, going with the flow. But that whole proud spirit was gone. There wasn't no more proud spirit. And in my dream, I had not one inclination or desire to actually be with any of these women, because the spirit wasn't a simple spirit in the earth anymore. It wasn't like a spirit of like woman worship in the earth anymore. It was a spirit of survival. You see what I'm saying? Because the whole time while Shawty was talking, and I'm just like, just listening to her, I'm thinking like, all right, there's no guns in this room, there's no ammo in this room, I gotta go before a group of Russians come up in here, or some marauders or somebody come up in here and rob me and kill me. So we had to keep it moving. That was the spirit that was in the earth. You had to keep it moving, man. You know what I'm saying? So after she had told me everything she had told me, and the other 6 girls are kind of quiet and just kind of holding each other and just sitting there, you know what I mean? I just said, all right, sis, I'm sorry to hear that. And I kept it moving, yo. Because I no means had any desire to deal with any of them, because in that day, women will be liabilities, bro. They're not feeling, it's literally a risk, you know? And we think, in my dream, I continued to go forth, and I was working my way to an area that I knew had ammunition stashed there. And when I went outside to this area that I knew had ammunition, a van pulled up to me, and it was a familiar face that I knew. It's somebody that I knew at some point in my life, but I don't even know their name. I just recognized their face from the dream. And he had pulled up, you know what I'm saying, in a van, and me and him was talking and catching up, and he had gave me a pistol, okay? And the pistol he had gave me was a small, like, pocket rocket type, like 9mm style pistol. And then he gave me a Ziploc bag with maybe 6 or 7 bullets in it. And it was like a single stack magazine type pistol. It wasn't nothing that hold 16 rounds or nothing like that. It was like a pocket rocket, you know what I mean? But anything would do in that day, you know? And as I'm talking to him, me and him is looking down the street, and there was a guy walking down the street about 100 yards away, and a car pulled up on him aggressively, and 2 guys got out of the car and robbed that man and murdered that man right in front of us. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, and according to the dream, man, that's the environment it's about to be like. You know, it was basically like all hell breaking loose, but it wasn't like, you know, like just, I mean, it was chaotic, but it wasn't like, you know, looking outside and just seeing people everywhere going crazy. It wasn't like that. It was like, you know, one moment would be quiet, then at any given moment some action could pop off. You know what I'm saying? It was wild. It was wild. But the ammunition that the guy gave me that I was talking to in the Ziploc bag, all of them were warped. Like, looked like they was like pressure, like they was crushed with a C-clamp and bent out of shape. And I remember telling the dude, I'm like, man, you sure these things will work? These bullets will fit in this gun? He's like, yeah, they will fit, man. I got them pressured to fit. So that let me know that ammunition is about to be very scarce. With this presidency that's going forth, I mean, I'm not all into that. I've never voted. You feel me? I'm not into that. You know what I'm saying? I already know what's up when it comes to, like, no matter who get in office, prophecy is going to continue to unfold, and all that is written is what's going to come to pass. So I'm not all wrapped up in the left and the right, even though I might have my opinions of the candidates. You know what I'm saying? And I do. But with the ammo shortages and the gun shortages in the dream, it lets me know that we're going to be facing these issues in the near and dear future. especially with all these school shootings and things that's been happening too. You know, hey, it might be a good time. And I think a lot of Americans are already on the point where they're buying up a lot of guns and ammo and stuff, but it might be a good time to consider anteing up on these things. But to continue, in my dream after I spoke to that dude and he gave me a firearm, and me and him had witnessed somebody get robbed and murdered about 100 yards away. We like, damn, we watching it. Like how you see in Chicago when people be running up on each other and just doing each other dirty. It was like that with it, man. Then the guy had left in his van, and I went into the area in which I was looking for ammunition, and somebody else had met me there and was trying to take all the ammunition for themselves. Me and him, I got into an altercation, and then come to find out, he actually knew the guy that I was just speaking to, so it was like a betrayal at the end of it all. And then the dream kind of ended, you know what I'm saying? But I was shown like Russia invading America, yo, and it wasn't just, your worries wasn't just about the Russians, because there was like a troop here and there. On a good day, you might be able to see maybe 1 or 2 troops go by, but you might be able to hide yourself or see them and they don't see you. But the spirit that was in the earth was whoever saw who first, they shooting. And they shooting to kill. Whoever saw who first. And not only did you have to worry about foreign troops, you had to worry about marauders and people who were out to kill who were not Russians, people who were just Americans here. You know, but it was a crazy dream. And I had this dream, it feels like it was about a month ago. It's October 12th now. Me and my family, including the dog, man. Including the dog. We all fasted. We got a 2-year-old, he dry fasted. And we got a 1-year-old. My wife nursed him whenever he was hungry, but we fasted for the Day of Atonement. Did a dry fast. You know, stuff like that. So we just ate Saturday night right now. But I figured I'd just touch on this because I just got a gut feeling that something, you know, these things are about to come to pass, man. I'll make another video, read this dream that I had on August 31st, 2024. It was a Friday night, and I woke Saturday morning around 4 a.m. But I'm gonna go ahead and read what I wrote immediately following after I had that dream. So I had a dream of an invasion of some sort that brought war in the land of America. I believe it to have been Russia. There was chaos and unease. Gun sales have seemed to be halted, and therefore people were scavenging for guns and ammo. Women were scared and hiding or would be under the protection of men, some of which they knew not. Women were as captives, but it was almost as if it were good for them, as they were desperate to be under a man. In the dream, I came across a small group of women. They were black. I was scavenging for 12-gauge ammo for a long pump-action hunting-style shotgun another man had gave me as we were fighting off enemy insurgents. The shotgun was a very long pump-action with wooden furniture and blued steel, and was very worn but reliable, almost like a Mossberg 500 with a 10 to 12 round magazine tube. It was so lengthy it affected how quickly I could shoulder the weapon and aim it with the iron sights. The insurgents were randomly scattered. You would see them solo or in small groups here and there at any moment or place, and would have to hide, fight, or die. It was almost like whoever saw the other first, the shooting engagement would incur. Back to the seventh woman. As I was combing through a dimly lit open facility for guns and ammo, I entered an open room wherein I heard some noise, and about 7 women climbed out of hiding and appeared. One was talking frantically, explaining what they had seen and been through, while the other 6 were just scared, looking around in total unease. I could tell they weren't related, but somehow were together because of the circumstances. Side note, sexual gratification was not a desire at all, but rather survival. Women were as captives, and normally groups were with men. Solo men or small groups. The captivity was not against the will of the women, but as though they were easily willing to go with any man that came across them. I listened to the talking of the woman. Felt bad slightly, but continued searching for guns and ammo going about my way. I worked my way outside to head to an area where I knew ammo would be. On my way to this area, I was crossing the street and a white van pulled up to me. Somebody I knew approached me from the vehicle and began talking with me. The face was familiar, yet I remember not his name, but he was a fair-skinned brother who was cool. As he was talking to me, he handed me a small pistol that was still inside of a soft fabric belt loop inside waistband holster. He handed me also an extra magazine and a Ziploc with 5 old bullets in it. The pistol was a 5-shot small semi-automatic. For some odd reason, upon inspecting the weapon, the bullets looked oblong and warped in shape as they sat in the magazine. They looked like they were bent by a C-clamp or pliers almost, but they seemed to feed out of the magazine as I began popping them out to inspect them. It was strange. I believe it was done for fitment and the bullets seemed to be 45 ACP. After assuring me that the weapon functioned, me and the brother kept speaking to each other, then we both beheld about 100 yards away a silver car erratically swerve and approach another vehicle. I believe it to have been a murder or a robbery. Men were killing each other for their weapons and resources they had. Wisdom and discretion was imperative at this time. There were some men that had good hearts and would help for the sake of the invasion, which is how I received both my firearms at this point. But most would kill you and take what you have. It was pure survival mode, wherein in an instant you would need to determine if someone was a threat or not and act accordingly. After me and the familiar man had spoken, I continued to cross the other half of the street to the spot I knew that had ammunition. I had a knowing of this area having a large variety of 12 gauge. There was a table behind a cutout area outside that had bins of loose 12 gauge. Upon inspecting the 12 gauge loads, some were severely damaged, some had empty plastic casings, and some had strange compromised loads, some half full and half empty. I did come across a round or two of number 8 birdshot, and I would immediately load whatever seemed good enough to shoot into my magazine tube. It seemed as though every small batch of ammo was severely damaged and or old and useless. I saw 12 gauge ammo with the plastic casings ripped open with nothing inside. Some had random stuffing inside, jeopardizing the lethality of the load. I did come across some birdshot. The good ammunition was scarce. I saw severely warped bullets that were bent out of shape and unreliable, wouldn't cycle through a handgun if used. The bullets were rusty and old. As I was scavenging, another familiar face walked up and I immediately knew his intentions were not good. He began talking to me and I knew he came to possibly rob me, but definitely to secure all the ammo I was still looking through. His demeanor was with malice and ill intent. I shot him with the pistol, and from what I remember, although it shot, it wasn't very reliable as I had to rack the slide a few times, signifying a jam of some sort because the weapon would just click while trying to shoot again. My first shot to the chest didn't affect him. I believe he had body armor on, and subsequent shots attempts were resulting in malfunctioning. I then shot him with the shotgun on the left side of his forehead, and it was a birdshot load that hit him. He reacted in pain, but he didn't die, almost as if the round had little to no pressure to be lethal, even at point-blank range. He began taking all the ammo I had come for and cleared the table off. I then began hitting him with the shotgun like a baseball bat, but he then fled. Upon him walking away, he then began calling for the previous guy who gave me the pistol less than 5 minutes prior. He knew the familiar face that I was speaking with and appeared to be acquainted with him. I believe it was a betrayal. My dream ended and I woke up around 4 a.m. Going through some precepts, and the main precept for the dream that I had is going to be coming out of Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. So we're going to begin. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. And just pause real quick. If you can consider Helene and Hurricane Milton, how totally obliterated, Florida and Western Carolina, these winds are already being sent forth. But let's go ahead and continue. and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigandine. And spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of its God, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul, and be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even unto the skies. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come, and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. Then we look at the Medo-Persian Empire, that is the modern day Iranians. For his device is against Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes. For the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spoke against the inhabitants of Babylon. O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness, okay? Because America dwells, our military bases are all over the world, dwelling in many waters in many countries. They have embassies and military army bases, okay, and all these other countries, okay? The Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. He hath made the earth by his power, he hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heaven, and he causeth the vapors to ascend from the end of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. Every man is brutish by his knowledge, every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee I will break in pieces the nations, and with thee I will destroy kingdoms, and with thee I will break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee I will break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee I will break in pieces old and young, and with thee I will break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock, and with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroys all the earth. And I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundation, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith the Lord. Set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdom of Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. Okay, we talked about that being the Iranians, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. So these men are not going to want to fight, okay? They have remained in their holes. They're going to be sitting in their houses. Their might have failed. They have become as women. They have burnt her dwelling places. Her bars are broken, so these missiles are coming, okay? One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken at one end, and that the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burnt with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babylon. Okay, we're going to say that again. The daughter of Babylon. This is talking about America. It's like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. Okay, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, hath devoured me. He has crushed me. He hath made me an empty vessel. He hath swallowed me up like a dragon. He hath filled his belly with my delicates. He hath cast me out. The violence done to me in my flesh be upon Babylon, shall the inhabitant of Zion say. And my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea shall Jerusalem say. So all the violence against Jacob, okay, in the daughter of Babylon. Okay, because there's nothing new under the sun. This is twofold. It's talking about ancient Babylon, and it's also talking about, especially when it says the daughter of Babylon, it's talking about America, which is modern day Babylon and Egypt. Okay, all the blood that was shed of the Israelites over here, okay, of God's chosen, are going to be recompensed upon them. Okay, therefore, thus saith the Lord God, behold, this is verse 36. I will plead thy cause and take vengeance for thee, and I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. And Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place of dragons, and astonishment, and hissing without an inhabitant. They shall roar together like lions, they shall yell as lions' whelps. In their heat I will make their feast, and make them drunken, that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith the Lord. I'll bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with he-goats. How is Shishak taken, and how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? How is Babylon become an astonishment amongst the nations? The sea is come up upon Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. And I'm going to pause right there at verse 42. Because Yah has showed me a vision himself of a super tsunami coming upon America, man, upon the East Coast, okay? And for me, I interpret verse 42 as talking about that. A tsunami is coming to this place, okay? And the waves are going to come upon this land, and many will perish. Okay, let's continue. Verse 42. The sea is come up upon Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land, in the wilderness, and land wherein no man dwelleth, neither does any son of man pass it by. And I will punish Bel in Babylon, and will bring forth out of his mouth that which he hath swallowed up. And the nations shall not flow together any more unto him. Yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord. Unless your heart faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babylon, and her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon, for the spoilers shall come unto her from the north, saith the Lord. And if you've been following what's been going on globally, y'all, Russia and China have been having some activity above Canada, okay? I think Antarctica, okay? No, Alaska. I'm sorry. Up there beyond Alaska, they've been seeing some Russian and Chinese ships and stuff, you know, looking like they're coming from the north, y'all. Just you can look into that yourself. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to touch on that because I read an article on that a couple of days ago, and you know, all this military movement, you know, and this struck me when I read Jeremiah 51 and 48 when it talks about the spoilers shall come unto her from the north, okay? So what you want to do is try to precept this word with what we see going on, okay? That's part of the spirit of prophecy. You want to be able to attach what is prophesied to that which is what's really going on in the earth, okay? So let's go to 49, verse 49. As Babylon hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth. Ye that have escaped the sword, go away, stand not still. Remember the Lord afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. So Yahweh is going to spare a portion of our people, okay? Throughout these attacks, throughout these, you know, deconstruction of America, the destruction of America, God is going to preserve his people, his special ones here, okay? So you're going to have to flee, okay? Many people call this Jacob's trouble as well. But you're going to have to flee, trust in Yah, and just know that, you know, the kingdom is coming, okay? We are confounded because we have heard reproach. Shame has covered our faces, for the strangers are coming to the sanctuary of the Lord house. Wherefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will do judgment upon her graven images, and through all her land the wounded shall groan. Though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet for me shall spoilers come unto her, saith the Lord. So the Lord is sending spoilers to invade this place and to destroy it. There's nothing new under the sun. Just like he had did in ancient Babylon in the times of Jeremiah, okay, and the time of Ezra, they're both alive around the same time. God freed Israel through the Medes, okay, through Darius, the Persian, okay, and these Medo-Persians is the modern day Iranians, okay. You can look into that, it's like a side study you can look into. A sound of a cry cometh from Babylon, and great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans, because the Lord hath spoiled Babylon and destroyed out of her the great voice. When her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voices uttered. Because the spoiler is come upon her, even Babylon, and her mighty men are taken, and every one of their bows are broken. For the Lord God of recompense shall surely requite. And I will make drunk her princes, and her wise men, and her captives, and her rulers, and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake, saith the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and their high gates shall be burnt with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. The word which Jeremiah the prophet commanded Syria, and the son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah, when he went to Zedekiah the king of Judah into Babylon in the 4th year of his reign. And this Syria was a quiet prince. So Jeremiah wrote in a book of all the evil that should come upon Babylon, even all these words that are written against Babylon. And Jeremiah said to Syria, when thou comest to Babylon, and shall see, and shall read these words, then shalt thou say, O Lord, thou hast spoken against this place to cut it off, that none shall remain in it, neither man nor beast, but that it shall be desolate forever. And it shall be, when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind a stone to it, and cast it into the midst of the Euphrates. And thou shalt say, thus shall Babylon sink, and shall not rise from the evil that I will bring upon her, and they shall be weary. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah. Okay? Okay, now this is another precept we're going to touch on that all of us has read before, but we need to consider. In my dream, I did see this Isaiah 4 in one day and time, and I talked about it in my dream. But I'm going to go ahead and read Isaiah 4, and we're going to read the whole chapter, okay, to get the full concept of what we're about to come into. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. They're going to want to be up under some type of man. They're going to want that. They're not going to want to be single. That whole diva spirit, the whole single by choice spirit is going to be, that proud spirit is going to be completely obliterated, because their survival is going to be on the strength of a man, okay? In that day shall be the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. Okay, because we just read in Jeremiah the 51st chapter that God is going to cause his people to actually flee. Okay, in that day of attack in Babylon, America, you understand? They're going to be set aside in the midst of this judgment, okay? And God is going to lay us down in a quiet place. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. So Yahweh is going to have his portion, okay? He's going to come through Israel, okay? And 2/3 are going to get cut off in these judgments. They're going to die in these judgments, okay? But Yahweh is going to preserve his elect, and he's going to preserve his remnant, okay? His remnant man, okay? Men, okay? Because this tabernacle is with men, okay? When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. So a lot of these women are going to get caught up in judgment through the spirit of burning and that's twofold. A lot of them are going to be burning from these STDs they about to be catching, because they're going to be taken by random troops and by random men, because Yahweh, he gives people to their demise. You have women on this side who sell themselves and make market of their bodies to benefit them, but then he turns around and will destroy you by your own devices. If you want to be a hoe, he going to make you the biggest hoe. and it will be in the means of judgment and not of pleasure. So a lot of these women are going to be burning in their genitals and in their bodies until it consumes them and they die. And a lot of them are going to be burning from these missiles and these bombs and this fallout, nuclear fallout that's going to be having the skin coming off people's bodies, man. And you know, it's a terrible thing, you know, but the burning of judgment, these are all spirits of judgment. You see what I'm saying? But we're going to continue to verse 5. And the Lord will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion and upon her assemblies a cloud and smoke by day and a shining of flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense. So Yahweh's actually going to defend his children in this time. The elect men and the remnant men who fear him. He's going to remember us, okay? Our names are written in the book of remembrance by being obedient to the Heavenly Father to the best of our abilities and being mindful of his righteousness and his expectations of us, which is to serve him and to be obedient to his commandments and to revere him and to fear him. Those who are walking in this manner, okay, they're going to be spared when Babylon goes down, okay? And there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a covert from storm and from rain. So Yahweh's gonna protect his children, okay? But a lot of these 2/3 women, they're gonna be destroyed, y'all. They're gonna be destroyed in this time that's coming, and they're gonna seek to be with a man, because the only men that are gonna be living and walking around and doing good are gonna be men of the Lord. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this so it's not too long of a video, and you know, I pray that it was edifying for y'all, you know, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, man. Shalom, till next time.